Okay, we're going to move on now to the Governor Roundtable. We got 15 minutes before we have to break for lunch, and so a little more than 15 minutes actually, 16. So let's Governor Roundtable. I see Governor Stevens has his hand up.
So thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to just give you all a heads up of my intent to bring various bylaw proposals to the Board of Governors. I start with my discontent regarding the election of the president-elect. And this is not about you, Governor Abel, President-elect Abel, congratulations. It is about for me at least, the strange picture that the two at-large governors get voted on by all the members, but the president-elect does not. And I think it's time to get out of being a little club of 14 or 15 people with very little information going to any of the members. And so I'll be bringing a proposal for the full member election of the president-elect. And I'll be tweaking what role the Board of Governors may play. But at least for me, this process has long been wanting. And it almost feels like both a very closed system and getting right down to, I don't know, things that look like what we did in middle school. I think it is time for our president-elect to put their information out to the full membership and have the full membership elect that person. So I will be bringing a proposal on that. I'll also be bringing a proposal to eliminate the idea of counting abstentions for any reason. I find it appalling that in some circumstances, one may abstain and actually affect the outcome of a vote. You know, my view is abstention shouldn't be counted. And if you are opposed to something, then vote no. But don't sit on your hands, and sitting on your hands allows a decision that we don't move forward because of the way our bylaws are structured. I'll also be bringing one clarifying that with the exception of the legislative committee during the session, that committees do not, when they do their work, go forward and implement before they come back to the full Board of Governors for its approval so that the committee can then do those implementation steps. And I just never want to see some confusion about what the role and responsibility is of a committee versus this full Board of Governors. You know, we've spoken many times about transparency, et cetera, et cetera. I hear actually Governor Bridges' voice in my head when it comes to committee work, that the committee should not be the last place where a decision is made prior to it going to the board. That is then a subset of sometimes even a subset of a subset taking action. And I think it should not only come to the Board of Governors with proposals from committees, but that then also allows the public and our members to weigh in. And so those are some of the things, you know, when we talk about transparency, it is fascinating to me that we talk about it, but then when we get right down to some of the ways we do our business, we want to be less than transparent. We want to hide what we're doing. And I think that is wrong. And fundamentally, to me, it is always true that sunshine is the best vaccine against both corruption and inner dealing and closed decision making. So with that, governors, stay tuned.
Thank you, Governor Stevens. Governor Williams-Ruth.
Thank you, Mr. President. And first, I want to start by thanking you, Mr. President, for joining me at the public memorial for former United States Senator and Washington Attorney General Slade Gorton earlier this month. It meant a great deal to his family to see so many people from the Bar Association from years past. I learned of many things, and one of them actually relates to what Governor Stevens just said. And that was a quote that he once said, that I was not elected to vote present. And with the exemption of what Governors Abel and Governor Boyd did when there's a direct impact, which is where it's appropriate to abstain, I have those issues ringing in my head, which is one of the reasons why I want to use the Governor's Roundtable to make really clear something as it relates to the work of our Practice of Law Board, and where many of the governors were in Hawaii for a Western States Bar Leaders Conference. We got to speak with representatives from the Utah Bar and hear about their regulatory sandbox and the idea of replacement theory. And I actually credit my church pastor for talking about this on Sunday. And the idea that anyone feels that another person can replace them is fundamentally flawed in its beginning. Someone else's success does not mean that I am less. Other people being elected to a position does not mean that I am not worthy. And, you know, as we go through with the issues of access to justice and our mission statement, I think of the work that's being done and the proposals that'll be coming forward, and really questioning for my own self, and will question openly at the times for this board to consider, what really is the fear that we're talking about? And again, I also credit the task force on bar licensure. I've spent a lot of this last year working around the status quo and its origins, its advancements, its entrenchments to, like, as it relates to bar licensure, a $30 billion a year industry for all the players that are involved in bar licensure. Yeah. And I just want to make really clear that while I serve on this board, whenever we are addressing things of status quo, the status quo is very easy to maintain. In fact, one of my own guides has said that. It's like, it's really hard to believe that people who hold the status quo are feeling like they're not given enough space in the room to have their voice heard, when that is really the easiest thing any organization can do, is simply maintain the status quo. So I just, as we go through, and again, this last Sunday or Saturday in Buffalo, New York, where one of our own Washington State Bar Association members, who's a friend of mine, has moved to, and his paralegal aunt was one of the victims. This is not a tragedy that is unheard of, unexpected even. I mean, it's one of these things that now people wander around wondering what sound they hear. If somebody drops a can of peas in aisle 4, the number of people that jump is really saddening. So I just want people to think about when we're talking about our systems and our structures, what are we really saying when we are wanting to choose one path or another? And is it truly that of advancing where our mission and our own values lie? Thank you again, Mr. President, for your time. Again, the Gorton family are personal to me, and it meant a lot to sit with you at St. Mark's to honor the life of what Chief Justice Chief Justice Warren is recorded saying that Slade Gorton was the best attorney general ever to argue before the United States Supreme Court. He'd argued 12 cases on behalf of the people of Washington State. Something that is, again, a feat into itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, Governor Stevens, do you have your hand back up? Nope. Any other comments or things on the governor's roundtable?